There are a lot of weird, fascinating technologies that scientists can't explain. And as much as we might want to take on some fanatical crusade to answer these mysteries, most of them are simply left unanswered. This video will explore the most bizarre ancient technologies. The last one will blow your mind. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video with your friends. Number 1. OLLANTAYTAMBO Ruins. One of Cusco's busiest tourist destinations is the famous OLLANTAYTAMBO Ruins. This location served as both an Inca ceremonial center and a command center for travelers in the sacred valleys of the Incas. All of the travelers that cross it are impressed by the massive walls, the watchtowers, and the exquisite stone sculpture. OLLANTAYTAMBO's construction served to safeguard the sacred valley and a hub of operations during the Spanish invasion because of its advantageous location. Additionally, according to the experts, water was worshipped there. OLLANTAYTAMBO is home to stunning Inca-lithic architecture. Many of its buildings were ruined or damaged as a result of the fierce fighting that took place there in 1537 between the rebel Incas and the Spanish. However, the location still has some of its ancient mystique and history. The Royal House of the Sun, Fort Chacana, Plaza Mayraque, or Cuchipunco, the Temple of the Sun, the monumental cover, the enclosure of the Ten Niche, the Bath of the Usta, and the platforms are a few of OLLANTAYTAMBO's archaeological structures. Number 2. Pyramid of the Magician. Another bizarre ancient technology is the Pyramid of the Magician. That the great dwarf magician who built the Pyramid of the Magician was hatched from an egg by his sorceress mother. He was given a fortnight to construct this temple under threat from an Uxmal monarch, or else he would perish. When Maya workmen used the entrance as a shelter during the excavation, they recalled being kept awake all night by Alaksob, throwing stones at the structure until they offered tobacco to the spirits of the forest. The location is the most significant example of Puuc architecture, which was popular throughout the late Classic period, AD 600 to 900. The Puuc style is distinguished by its use of smooth wall surfaces, limestone construction, plaster or stucco, finishes, masks, and other images of the rain god Chak, and a propensity for horizontal styling. After the decline and abandonment of the southern Maya lowland centers like Tikal, Palenque, and Occitan, this style and the northern Mayan lowland civilization most likely persisted in full force for another century or two. The city's major building came to an end after about 1000 when Toltec, or Toltec-inspired conquerors, arrived in Yucatan and founded Chichén Itzá as their capital. Uxmal, however, remained occupied and took part in the political League of the Mayapan. According to Maya hieroglyphic documents, Uxmal was abandoned after the League ended, along with the other major northern cities, circa 1450. The Tutu Zui was the city's reigning family before it was abandoned, similar to the Izca of Chichen and Kokomo of Mayapan. This location sure is ancient and mysterious. Number 3. Borobudur. The Aliandra dynasty's kings constructed the Temple of Borobudur as a memorial to the Buddha in the year 800 CE on the Indonesian island of Java. Exact dates vary among scholars. When the rulers of Java moved the capital to another area of the island for still unknown reasons, the temple, or Candi in Javanese, fell into neglect some 100 years after it was finished. Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles, the British Lieutenant Governor on Java, only rediscovered this location in 1814 after hearing claims from islanders about an amazing sanctuary deep within the island's interior. There are 504 Buddha statues throughout the entire site. The first 4 galleries are decorated with 1460 stone reliefs on the walls and opposite balustrades, and 1212 artistic reliefs further enhance the route. A central axis mundi surrounds a network of outdoor pathways that make up Borobudur, cosmic axis. Worshippers travel around it clockwise along walkways that eventually climb to the highest level. Geomancy, religion, and geometry are all used in Borobudur to guide followers toward the ultimate goal of enlightenment. Relief sculptures that have been painstakingly carved represent a pilgrim's progress ascent to higher states of consciousness, both physically and spiritually. Number 4. Göbekli Tepe. The location dates to 10,000 BCE and is the earliest man-made center of worship ever found. Klaus Schmidt, a German archaeologist who had previously worked on the Nevalori site dig, which is now known to be older than Göbekli Tepe, discovered the temples. 3 meters, 10 feet tall round pillars can be found inside the temples. There are carved reliefs of animals like lions, foxes, snakes, and gazelles on each T-shaped monolithic limestone pillar, in addition to abstract figures and symbols. The hill may have been utilized for ceremonial sacrifices and feasts based on the bones that have been found there. The Neolithic worshippers managed to organize themselves, cut and transport these 16-ton stone pillars up a hill, and arrange them in a circular, ritualistic pattern, despite the fact that they lived in a world without writing, metal, or pottery, and at a time when archaeologists believed humanity had not yet gathered together to worship with priests and sacrifices. That's bizarre. For archaeology and prehistory, Göbekli Tepe continues to pose more mysteries than it does answers. Despite being abandoned and appearing to have lost its significance in the 8th century BCE, the site still has significant ramifications for how we currently interpret the ancient world. Number 5. Adam's Bridge. The Setubandhanam Bridge, which spans the ocean and connects India to Sri Lanka, the home of Ravana, the lord of men and god, is mentioned in the Indian Sanskrit epic Ramayana by Valmiki. According to the epic, Rama's ape army, supporting him in his battle against Ravana to reclaim his wife Sita, is responsible for constructing the bridge. True to the mythical epic, Ramaswaran Island, off the southeast coast of Tamil Nadu, India, and Mannar Island, off the northwest coast of Sri Lanka, was formerly connected by a bridge, either man-made or natural. According to reports, until storms deepened the canal in the 15th century, it was possible to walk across this 30-kilometer bridge that connects the Palk Strait and the Gulf of Mannar. According to the Ramesharma Temple Chronicles, Rama's bridge may have been entirely above sea level when a hurricane demolished it in AD 1480. According to Sri Lankan historians, the bridge was a collapsible structure created to cross the sea to enter India when necessary. Sri Lankans believe that Ravana built the bridge himself using floating rocks, the boulders formed of weightless corals. This bridge is one heck of a mystery. Number 6. Megaliths. Since so many megalithic monuments have been utilized and reused for thousands of years, they are among the oldest and most durable archaeological buildings. Their initial use is probably lost to time, but as many cultural groups employed them over the centuries and millennia, they might have served a number of purposes. Furthermore, very few, if any, still exist in their original form due to erosion, vandalism, quarrying, additions, or simple modification for reuse by later generations. Megalithic monuments were classified as memorials by the Thesaurus's creator, Peter Mark Roget, which may have been their main purpose. During the thousands of years that they have stood, it is obvious that the megaliths have had and continue to have a variety of meanings and uses. Some of the functions for these monuments today and in the past include elite tombs, mass burials, gathering sites, astronomical observatories, religious centers, temples, shrines, processional routes, territory marks, and status symbols, among others that we'll never know. Number 7. Construction of the Sphinx of Giza. The gigantic Great Sphinx of Giza, a limestone sculpture that is 4,500 years old, is located close to the Great Pyramid in Giza, Egypt. The Great Sphinx is one of the largest buildings ever built, is 66 feet 20 meters high and 240 73 meters long. The massive structure's history and origins are still unknown, although it is one of the most well-known ancient Egyptian artifacts. The most well-known and commonly accepted theory of the Great Sphinx claims that Pharaoh Khafre was the one who gave the order for its creation, about 2603 to 2578 BC. According to hieroglyphics texts, Khafre's father, Pharaoh Khufu, is considered to have built the Great Pyramid, the oldest and largest of the 3 pyramids at Giza. Although Khafre's pyramid is 10 feet shorter than the Great Pyramid, it is flanked by a more intricate complex that contains the Great Sphinx and other statues. Khafre built his own pyramid close to his father's when he became pharaoh. Numerous lines of evidence link Pharaoh Khafre and his temple complex to the Great Sphinx. One of the reasons is that the Sphinx head and face are remarkably similar to a life-size statue of Khafre that the French archaeologist Auguste Mariette discovered in the Valley Temple, the remnants of a building next to the Great Sphinx, in the middle of the 19th century. Many different origins and explanations for the Great Sphinx have been proposed over time, but professional Egyptologists have debunked the majority. According to certain theories, Khufu created the Sphinx because his likeness can be seen on its face. As an alternative, Pharaoh Djefri, Khufu's second son and Khafre's older half-brother, erected the Great Sphinx in honor of his father. According to some views, the statue represents Amenhotep II, circa 1929 to 1895 BC, based on the pattern of the stripes on the Sphinx's headdress. On the basis of the possible age of the causeway or other patterns of erosion of the statue, some scientists also assert that the Great Sphinx is significantly older than is generally accepted. Number 8. The Iron Pillar of Delhi. The historical monument known as the Iron Pillar of Delhi enchants everyone with its enigmatic iron construction, which has remained rust-free for more than 1,600 years. Archaeologists and material scientists are still working to answer one of the oldest riddles in the world. The Iron Pillar in Meherli is 7.2 meters tall. It rests on a 6.5-ton, a 48-centimeter diameter foundation that has been intricately carved. The tip of the pillar's upper section, which slightly narrows at the summit, is around 29 centimeters wide. Over 5,865 kilograms is the weight of the pillar. The pillar's summit is decorated with carvings. Additionally, it contains a deep socket that is thought to have served as the base for the Hindu god Garuda's statue. Inscriptions have been engraved into an iron pillar. An indication of its origin can be found in some of the iron pillar inscriptions. However, the study is still being done to determine where it was originally created. The most amazing feature of iron pillar architecture is that despite being exposed to the elements for more than 1,600 years, it is not corroded. Numerous studies have been conducted to determine the cause, and it is yet to be discovered. Number 9. Hypogeum of SAFLIENI in Malta. In Puala, close to the Grand Harbor, on the top of a hill, is the SAFLIENI Hypogeum. A stone mason who was laying the foundation for several houses in 1902 unintentionally unearthed it. Most of the homes had been finished and made livable by the time the Hypogeum was disclosed. Because of this, the monument's upper level suffered permanent harm. The site was public property by the end of 1903, and excavation continued there until 1911. Pottery, human bones, jewelry, small carved animals, and larger figures were among the abundant archaeological finds at the site. A single structure, the Hypogeum at SAFLIENI, is made up of halls, rooms, and corridors carved out of Globigerina limestone. The complex is divided into 3 levels: the upper level, the middle level, and the bottom level. As the room grew scarce, site visitors delved down further. The Hypogeum sheds light on the present above-ground constructions of Malta's temple culture. In addition to the bones, archaeologists have discovered jewelry, amulets, beautiful ceramics, and carved figures, which they estimate to be the remains of almost 6,000 people. The only prehistoric artwork discovered on the island may still be in a few chambers. They are red ochre spirals and honeycombs and black and white checkerboards. Corbelled ceilings provide a clue as to how the ancient inhabitants of Malta sustained the roofs of the numerous above-ground structures now in ruins that can be found all across the islands. Number 10. Ancient City of MADOL. MADOL is one of the prevalent historical locations in the Pacific. The remnants of the city of Pompeii are situated on a coral reef in a lagoon near the eastern side of the little island of Temwan in the Federated States of Micronesia. Before it was abandoned, MADOL played an important role in the politics and religion of the native Pompeians. During its 500-year history between 1200 and 1700, the city served as the principal administrative hub for the island of Pompeii, a royal enclave, a fortress, a market, and a place of worship. Due to its location in a lagoon, proximity to water on 3 sides, and stone wall, the city is frequently referred to as the Venice of the Pacific. Travel between the city's more than 90 small artificial islets is made possible via a sophisticated network of tidal canals and waterways. This approach is referred to as non-Madol, which roughly translates to between the intervals. The architecture of non-Madol gives the impression that it is floating in the water. Each of the 130 structure's walls was constructed from cut basalt stones that had been painstakingly stacked on top of one another in a crisscross manner. On our list, this location is without a doubt among the most enigmatic. 11. The Baghdad Battery. In reality, the Baghdad Battery is a nesting group of 3 artifacts. There is a tiny clay pot which was taller when it was finished but only measured 14 centimeters when it was discovered. Its fractured top is thought to have asphalt applied to it. The second item was a copper cylinder contained within the third item, an iron rod. Through the jar's cork, the rod would have emerged. It is widely believed that the battery was discovered in the area of Kajutu Rubu in Baghdad, the capital of Iraq. The specifics are uncertain though, as with many other aspects of this artifact. For instance, some claim Koenig discovered it during an excavation in 1936, while others claim he discovered it in the National Museum of Iraq's basement in 1938. The fact that it originated somewhere close to the location of the former royal metropolis of Ctesiphon is one of the few undisputed facts. Its creation date, however, is another matter. Both the Parthian and Sasanian Iranian empires had their capital in Ctesiphon. Koenig dated it between 150 BC and 223 AD and thought it was a Parthian battery, but more recent archaeologists have found that it was Sasanian, 224 to 650 AD. Alessandro Volter's 20th March 1800 description of an electric battery is widely regarded as the earliest ever description of an electric battery, even at the later end of this time frame. This is still an ancient technology that scientists are trying to figure out today. 12. The Sword of GOUJIAN. The Sword of GOUJIAN's extraordinary sharpness and resistance to tarnishing are two of its most notable qualities. The blade's metal remained intact and brilliantly sparkling despite spending more than 2,000 years under. The etching on the blade indicates that this sword was created for the King of Yu, a Chinese monarch. Two characters, which may be the name of a particular king or the signature of the bladesmith who made the sword, have not yet been translated. The medium-sized, just under 2-pound sword of GOUJIAN is in good condition. Its length is 55.6 centimeters and its base is 4.6 centimeters wide. The hilt has an additional 8.4 centimeters in length in addition to the 47.2 centimeter blade and has a simple guard and a silk binding around the hilt. 13. The Phastos Disc. Archaeologists made an amazing find on the Greek island of Crete in 1908. A clay disc of around 16 centimeters in diameter and 2 centimeters in thickness was found. The fact that this disc was covered in 242 symbols in a spiral design and no one knew what they meant made it remarkable. In actuality, we still don't know for sure. This relic, known as the Phastos disc after the location where it was found, is one of the most puzzling finds from the ancient Mediterranean. It's a fascinating window into the past, but still a mystery. Although the disc looks to be handcrafted, archaeologists think the markings may have been stamped rather than manually cut into the clay. This is particularly important since the discovery of stamps suggests that the Minoans produced many discs. In fact, it suggests that they had plans to record information often. Since no one has discovered stamps in Minoan archaeological sites or any other examples of these symbols, this is an intriguing theory, but one that is also perplexing. Although the majority of archaeologists concur that the symbols on the Phastos disc indicate some kind of early writing system, no one can agree on how to decipher it. In fact, we can't even agree on the proper direction for reading it. Others contend that the spiraling symbols should be read from the inside out, while some say they should be read from the outside in. 14. The Codex GIGAS. The Codex GIGAS, commonly referred to as the Devil's Bible, is well known for two things. First, it is thought to be the biggest medieval manuscript that has survived to this day. The name Codex GIGAS means huge book. And second, it features a gigantic, full-page illustration of the devil. The Codex GIGAS was made for a Bohemian monastery, but was taken as war booty to Sweden in the 17th century. The manuscript includes a full copy of the Bible, historical accounts, magic formulas, and spells. Along with other well-known works written in Latin, the manuscript includes the entire Vulgate Bible. Between the Old and New Testaments are a number of other well-known medieval reference works, including Josephus's Antiquities of the Jews and Di Bello Idioco Isidore of Seville's Encyclopedia Entomology, the Chronicle of Cosmos of Prague, Chronica Bohemiarum, and medical works. According to Tess, the calligraphy alone, without the pictures or embellishments, would have required 20 years of non-stop writing to duplicate the work. 15. Damascus Steel. Between the years 900 and 1750 AD, in or near Damascus, Syria, the original Damascus steel swords have been created. A type of steel alloy called Damascus steel is durable and flexible, making it the perfect material for crafting swords. When Europeans first experienced Damascus-made swords during the Crusades, it is stated that they acquired an almost mythological reputation. It was stated that a blade made of Damascus steel could slice a piece of silk in half as it fell to the ground and could also cut through regular blades or even rock without losing its edge. Recent metallurgical research based on microscopic examinations of preserved Damascus steel blades has claimed to be able to recreate very similar steel through potential historical process reconstructions. It's still debatable where the name Damascus came from, although it might seem evident that it alludes to the swords made in Damascus. The name's origins can be attributed to a number of equally plausible places. Number 16. The Lycurgus Cup. The Lycurgus cup from the 4th century, which changes color depending on where the light source is coming from, is credited with igniting interest in colloidal gold. However, it wasn't until Michael Faraday's study in the middle of the 1850s that colloidal gold became a topic of scientific attention. He was the first to notice that the reduction of gold chloride results in a ruby-colored solution, which scatters light, since he was interested in studying the interplay of light and matter. Gustav Mie didn't offer a theoretical justification for the scattering and absorption of spherical colloidal particles until 1908. Surface plasmon confinements happen when a particle is illuminated at a wavelength that is equal to or smaller than the particle size. Due to interactions between input photons and the conduction band electrons of the noble nanoparticle, localized surface plasmon resonance (LSPR), optical phenomenon results in collective oscillation of free conduction band electrons and subsequent light absorption. 17. Indecipherable Voynich manuscript. The Voynich document offsite link, a mysterious illustrated manuscript book written in what had for a very long time seemed to be an indecipherable text, has long been the focus of much study and conjecture. However, the manuscript's author, script, and language are still unknown, and for many years it was thought the manuscript might have been created with the intention of being meaningless. Many professional and amateur cryptographers, including some of the most renowned American and British codebreakers of World War II, have studied the Voynich manuscript extensively over the course of its recorded existence, all of whom failed to decrypt a single word. The book has Wilfred M. Voynich offsite link's name, a Polish-American bookseller who bought it in 1912. It has been conserved in Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library offsite link since 1969 because of a donation from H.P. Krauss, an American rare book and manuscript trader. In the 21st century, progress has been made in interpreting the manuscript, but is still ongoing and frequently conflicting. Number 18. The Antikytherian mechanism. The last on this list is the Antikytherian mechanism. The Antikytherian mechanism was a mechanical tool used by the ancient Greeks to compute and show data regarding celestial occurrences. The ruins of this ancient computer, which are now on exhibit in the National Archaeological Museums in Athens, was discovered in 1901 inside the wreckage of a commercial ship that went down in the Mediterranean Sea in the first half of the 1st century BCE, close to the island of Antikythera. Current estimates place the date of its creation at 100 BCE, give or take 30 years. Its significance was realized when radiographic pictures revealed that the remaining shards had 30 gear wheels, the first known set of scientific dials or scales. No other intricate geared mechanism is known from antiquity or even from the construction of medieval cathedral clocks 1,000 years later. The Antikythera mechanism was made out of a bronze sheet and was originally housed in a shoebox-sized casing. Greek inscriptions adorn the case's doors and the mechanism's faces. Enough of these have survived to make it obvious that the device serves astronomical or calendrical purposes in large part. A long history of mechanical astronomical displays only has one known physical survivor, the Antikytherian mechanism. References in Greco-Roman literature, particularly in the descriptions given by Marcus Tullius Cicero, 1st century BCE, that span from Archimedes, 3rd century BCE, to a poetic reference in the late 4th or early 5th century CE, suggested that such devices were widely used. However, it is still unknown what the Antikytherian mechanism is for. Furthermore, it is unknown if the Greco-Roman civilization used advanced mechanical design abilities and bronze-geared technology in its creation for any other purposes. There you have it, some of our favorite bizarre mysteries in technology history. Can you think of any more? Let us know in the comments below.